Yes, thank you for joining us this evening, viewers from all over the world. It's an honor and a privilege for you joining us here on Cricket TV, fully owned by the West Indies Cricket Development Academy, as we discuss the thrill of victory in the West Indies 4-day championship. This is the sixth round. One more round remain, and then we get to the playoffs to decide who win the 2025 4-day championship for 250,000 US dollars. Jamaica beating the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force by a whopping 223 runs. They won on Friday, the third day of the game between them and Trinidad and Tobago. Brandon King played well. Also, Brad Barnes, Odin Simit, and they topple the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force in that game. Brad Barnes grabbing 4 wickets and Simit took 3 to help bundle out the Red Force for 165 in their second innings and dealt them their first loss of the tournament while they record their third win in 6 matches. The result temporarily left the Jamaicans on 82.8 points, nipping on the heels of fourth place Leeward Islands on 94.6 points. The Hurricanes leapfrog the Scorpions, who were third for a day after a draw with leaders Guyana RP Eagles. The Barbados Pride, who had slipped to fourth also for a day, now have 100 points after their victory over the Windward Islands Volcanoes on 51.6 points. One more round of match left before the championship. As we have said before, Brandon King scored 89 for the Jamaica Scorpions in the second innings. And Jamaica, after the first innings, have amassed a 201 first innings lead. So they got first innings point there, and but their batters failed to fire in the second innings. They were dismissed for 187 runs. But the writing was already on the wall after the first innings from the Jamaicans. Captain in the team for Jamaica was Brandon King, rather John Campbell, captain in the team. Once again, Jamaica, their third win of this 4-day championship. They got it in the sixth round. Well done to them. I have with me here Hall of Famer, Honorary Secretary, also a consultant here at the West Indies Cricket Development Academy, Mr. Dale Brown. Hall of Famer John Melbourne will join us later on in the show, but for now, we have Mr. Brown with us. Mr. Brown, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. Jamaica getting their third win, a big one over title favorites, the Red Force, and they have done it there in Trinidad and Tobago at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy. Your thoughts on the victory from Jamaica?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Codlin, and I'm happy to be here as always. Yes, a very critical win because, in a sense, they had to win this game and to give themselves a chance to advance to the next round. Um, we had some very interesting performances in that game. And in the first inning, when Jamaica batted, we saw Germany, they had a rocky start because they lost the first two wickets for 9 runs. That was when they lost Brandon King and John Campbell, the captain. But then Kirk McKenzie and Blackwood steadied the inning with a 96-run partnership. And that was very, very crucial before Javel Glenn came out and scored a well put together century of 140 not out, and in partnership with Mansingh, Abhijay Mansingh, who made 67. And they are the foundation, they were the persons that allowed Jamaica to make the 372 all out. And it was a very, very impressive performance, especially by those two when it was a 163-run partnership between Mansingh and Glenn that really gave the foundation for that big total. And we cannot forget Blackwood and Mackenzie, who added 96 when the team was in big trouble. So Jamaica then, when Trinidad batted, we saw that Joshua De Silva, their captain, played well, made 86. But the Jamaican bowling with Mindley 3 for 37, Mansingh, who had a good, decent all-round game, 3 for 41, and Shields 2 for 32, which meant that our fast bowlers took as many as 5 wickets in the game, which is significant because you get bonus points for that performance. And as you
Yes,
pointed out, Brandon King now was the linchpin in the second inning for Jamaica with a well played inning of 89. And nobody else. Glenn made 22. The wicketkeeper Thomas also made 22. And then Mansingh once again scored 27, not out. Carrie Pierre took 3 for 43, and Brian Charles, the off spinner, 4 for 82. But I noticed how expensive Brian Charles was in taking those wickets. And finally, when Trinidad batted the second time, trying to win the game to score 300 300 plus runs to win, they could not make it. And the Jamaican bowlers, again, with Osdean Smith, 3 for 19, Brad Barnes, 4 for 19, and Mansingh, 2 for 27, to really cap off a nice little match for himself. Took the Jamaican team to victory. A well-deserved victory, a good all-around victory because we had several persons contributing to the win, and it is good to see Brandon King amongst the runs. Good to see Javal Green stepping out. And Brad Barnes, the young leg spinner, every now and again he comes up and he takes wickets in bunches. When he takes wickets, it's usually 3 or 4, and that's very good to see. So now that
abs-
Mr. Melbourne has joined, I will close with that, Mr.
yeah,
Cotton.
yeah, absolutely. Hall of Fame, as we had promised, Hall of Famer John Melbourne has joined us, and we're glad and happy to have him on set yet again with us. He is the co-host of um, Sport to the Bone. A wonderful show there indeed. Um, as you watch the stream, we're asking that you will like the stream, that you will subscribe to our channel, and you will share the stream as you watch. And please comment and let us know what you think. We also have a poll running um, of who is going to be West Indies' next captain. As you come on the stream and go in the chat, you will see the poll. It is between Shea Hope, Joshua De Silva, and Alec Atenes. These are the three names that from our source that are being looked on there in Cricket West Indies at the moment. And so we're asking you that anyone you believe is good enough to lead this West Indies test team, then please vote and let us know what you think. Hall of Famer John Melbourne, um, the Jamaica game, they played Trinidad there at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy, and Trinidad was just 6 points away from taking over title holders and leaders. The Guyana Harpy Eagles, but Jamaica certainly stopped them in their track on Friday. They have done it in 3 days.
Thank you so much, Junior. And once again, folks, I have to say thanks to the panel for having me join them on this. Well, here in New York, it's all misty and rainy outside, and kind of the weather has kind of changed dramatically from last week. It's a little more, it's a little chillier, I should say, Mr. Brown.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I'm staying warm inside, sir.
Yeah. Yes, but it was a good win for the West Indies. I'm sorry for the Jamaica Scorpions, and I think that it was kind of set up from the first innings with that 140 not out by Javel Glenn, and I think from there on, they put that over 300 runs on the board in that first innings and bowled out Trinidad and Tobago for 171. Came back and make another 187. And as Dale said earlier, gave Trinidad and Tobago Red Force over 300 runs to make in the final innings. And of course, the Jamaica bowled out the Trinis quite cheaply, I should say, in the second innings for 165. And again, as Dale mentioned, it was an all-round performance by the Jamaica Scorpions, with contributions coming from other places. I don't know, I know Dale discussed the Jamaica innings in length, and I'm sorry, I'm just joining the program. But do we want to talk about, or have you discussed it, who the next West Indies captain might be?
Yeah, we're gonna get to it, but we're just exploring the um, game between Jamaica, the thrill of victory. Um, you know,
The agony of defeat.
and the absolutely, because it's a Jamaica team that is highly inconsistent, one that you looked on
Yes.
paper and think that they can give a good run, but um, every now and then. But John, you watch and saw the 4 day championship last year and saw that most of the games was played at Sabina Park, but Jamaica Hunger got one victory under the coaching of Andrew Richardson, the captaincy of Jerome Blackwood. So now for them to have a chance for the playoff, bearing that they topple the combined campus and colleges team later this week, they will go into the playoff. It's a remarkable improvement from last year, indeed.
It certainly is. And, while we celebrate the win, I must also say that um, at the beginning of the 4 day championship, Jason Mohammed was firing like he had got a renewed lease on life as a batsman.
Yeah,
But he has not scored very many runs in the last two games. And I might say also Amir Jangu for Trinidad and Tobago. And for this, and even Carey Pierre has not been as effective as he was earlier in the tournament. Must say also that the Red Force lost Jaden Seals for this match. I don't know how much more of an impact he might have had on the game, but just to mention that they lost Jaden Seals for this match. Yes, but we have a new coach, a new captain in John Campbell. And certainly it seems as if John, while he did not score a lot of runs in this game, he has been the batting leader so far of our the team so far. And it's good to see him coming back into cricket after sitting out almost 2 years,
Yeah.
and at least scoring some runs at this level.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
going into that game against the West Indies Academy, you said
No, man, the combined campus
combined
and college.
the college men, yes.
Yeah.
No, what I did not, you need to explain something to me though, Junior. Abhijay Man Singh, I think he was playing with the college men, but he
Yeah.
played for the Scorpions this game.
Yeah, what happened is that for you to play for the combined campus and college, your country must not pick you. So if you're not picked by your country, then you can play for that team. But once your country call for you, then you will have to
Okay.
go and play for. So um, he might have played a few games for the combined campus and college,
Yeah.
but he was
Yeah.
now recruited and being called by Jamaica. But since he's in the Jamaican setup, it is the first he had the impact that he
Yeah.
had in this game that finished on Friday for Jamaica.
You're right, because while he played for the campus men, he really wasn't impactful in the games that he played. So, but it was good to see him getting some runs in this game, and I guess bowling quite well too. But have they given up on Tamari Redwood Jr.?
No, they have not. Redwood is just a precaution because he has started off well in the championship year. And remember that in the new breakout league that will be starting on the 28th of April to the 10th of May, he's fully a part of that team. So maybe they don't want to burn him out too much.
Okay. All right. And I guess that's about it for me as far as the Jamaica Scorpions and the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force game goes.
Yeah.
It's good to see Jamaica not only win but put themselves in a position to be in the playoff round for the 4-day tournament.
Yeah, to challenge. It would certainly be a challenge.
And quite frankly, if they get to that round, I really wouldn't be surprised if they go on and win this championship. Marquino Minley, to me, he has not been taking a lot of wickets like fivers, but he seemed to be bowling steady. Picking up maybe 2 or 3 wickets each innings.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he will be in consideration now for the test team based on his performance in this series.
Yeah. Mr. Brown, looking at Odin Simit, remember a few years ago, the all-rounder spot was when the former coach that now coach Bangladesh, Phil Simmons, was the West Indies coach. The all-rounder spot under the captaincy of Nicholas Pooran was between um, between Odin Simit and Romario Shepherd. And but Shepherd has leapfall or leapfrog Odin Simit a lot, where Simit is basically now out of the West Indies team. How important is this 4-day championship that he has played all the match so far? How important it is for him that he put in the good performances that his name can at least be in the mind of Darren Sammy again for a potential spot on the West Indies white ball team going to England and Ireland in a couple of weeks' time.
Well, very, very, very important for him. He has played in all of the games so far, but his returns have been kind of just average, just scoring just over 200 runs, 213 runs, I think, at average of 17.7 per inning. So he's not really coming up with a performance to stamp himself in the minds of anyone. I think he has one half century, and he will need to step up his game because Sammy seems to be the type of person that goes back and prefers experienced players. And if he can show that he's in great form, he's one that I believe Sammy would want to reach out to because of his form, his experience.
Yeah, definitely. Let's now look at um, the standing in the 4-day championship for the matches that just gone. As you can see on your screen here, Jamaica Scorpions in the first innings, they made 372, and Trinidad and Tobago replied, and they replied with 165, and also Jamaica went back to back, collapsed, and made 106, 187. Trinidad replied made 171 before they were bowled out, and Jamaica went on to win the game, and they have done that with 223 runs, their biggest victory of the 4-day championship for this cycle. Also, we had the Barbados Pride beating the Windward Islands by 2 wickets. Barbados Pride made in their first innings, rather the Volcanoes in their first innings, 316. Barbados was rooted out for 198. The Windward Islands went back to back. They have made 186, and Barbados in their second innings an impressive 307 for the last of 8. Barbados went on to beat the Windward Islands there. Rather, the scores doesn't reflect the closeness of the game, but it was indeed a competitive game between Barbados and the Volcanoes in that game there at the Darren Sammy Cricket Stadium there in St. Lucia. The Leeward Islands and the Guyana RP Eagles, once again Tevin Imlach, the incumbent West Indies wicket-keeper replacing Joshua De Silva, made yet again another 100. 300 now he has made in the 4-day championship. We have heard John Melbourne, Hall of Famer, mention, you know, Jason Mohammed, and it's a point we will get to after this. But Tevin Imlach yet again leading from the front for the Guyana RP Eagles, making an impressive 100. Kevin Anderson also making yet again another 100 in the 4-day championship. Guyana made 490 for 9 declare. They also made 193. The Leeward Islands Volcanoes made 335, also made 146 for the last of three, the final game of the championship, where we see the combined campus and college made 238, also 395 for 8 declare. The West Indies Academy 316, and they made 6 for 1 in that game there. And so the only winners was the Barbados Pride and of course the Jamaican Scorpion that brutally destroy Trinidad and Tobago at their home. Very, very good to them. We have in the comment here a contributor of the West Indies Cricket Development Academy and a lover of sport. Is based in Texas, and he said, "Big up, Mr. Codlin. We acknowledge you, we appreciate you, and we love you, and we are grateful for all that you are doing for cricket here in Jamaica. We hope to see you when the West Indies come here in July." Let me just get back Mr. Brown in before I bring Mr. Melbourne back into the mix again. Mr. Brown, looking on all these games, looking clearly.
Not to interrupt you, Judah, but Dennis is on the line now.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for letting me know that. We have Hall of Famer Mr. Dennis Heath with us as well. He's a fellow journalist, and we are grateful for him being with us here. As I was saying, let me ask Mr. Brown to come back in. Mr. Brown, when you look on these games and the captains in this championship, John Campbell of Jamaica, Joshua De Silva of Trinidad and Tobago, Tevin Imlach of Guyana Harpy Eagles, and who captains the Windward team, Alec Athenies, and we also have the Windward, the Leeward, which is the Leeward is Rakeem Cornwall, and we also have for the academy team, which is I think the academy team is Akeem August, and it's slipping me now the captain for the combined campus and college. But analyze for me in short these gentlemen that is now captaining, and who is most impressive in your mind, Mr. Brown. Then Mr. Melbourne will pick up after that. Then I'll get to Mr. Eid thereafter.
Okay, thank you again. Obviously, with Guyana's record for the last few seasons and this season, Imlach would have to spring to mind immediately. And I think that, again, with notwithstanding their last defeat, Trinidad, with the silver at the helm, would have to figure prominently. And the Jamaican captain, John Campbell, I think, has an outside shot there also. But him having to fight back his way into the test team, I think again that he has a rougher road to, and with Jamaica's inconsistency, may really count against him. But I'm impressed with what he has done. And Jamaica has a chance, not a small chance, but a very good chance, if he can lead them to victory over the combined campuses. Considering that Barbados and Leeward were immediately ahead of Jamaica, whichever one of them loses out in that game, depending on how heavy, if they lose heavily, Jamaica have a chance of passing, especially the Leeward Islands, and getting into that fourth spot. Trinidad and Guyana, it doesn't really matter, but I see it as almost a showdown between Imlak and the Silver matching wits. But for me, Imlak is the more, I would say, impressive of all the captains when you take into consideration performance and leading his team. They are at the top of the tables for a reason, and he has contributed greatly to that reason. And not to be discounted, Da Silva is right there with them. And I would say, I wouldn't discount the others, but I would say that John Campbell would be the next person. The Lee Windwards, it's hard to say with their poor performance relatively, how much of that can you put on Athanaze? Because it's difficult captaining one of the weaker teams. And I have not seen enough of him to make a judgment of his captaincy.
Yeah, thank you for your thoughts, Mr. Brown. John?
In terms of the captaincy, yes, Tevin Imlak, of course, has done a good job with the Guyana Happy Eagles. While Joshua Da Silva lost his place in the last test series to Imlak behind the stumps, he has come back in this series and actually has scored, 2 or 3 centuries, again to put up his hand in terms of getting back into the West Indies team. However, Tevin Imlak, to me, I have a feeling that Darren Sammy is going to go with a younger, if I can call it, a player now as captain to work with. And Tevin Imlak, I think, has put himself in a position to be that player. No, John Campbell has done a good job with the Scorpions, but I don't think he would. He is in that consideration to be the next captain. The 3, I think, will be Joshua Da Silva, Tevin Imlak, and Alec Athanaze. And as I said, working the coach Darren Sammy working with a young player as the next captain, certainly Alec Athanaze would also be in that group as a young player to work with as captain. And Junior, you were one. The captain for the combined campuses is Johan. I think his name is Johan Jeremiah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think it's probably going to come
out of it. Maybe it's not.
And I don't know. I don't know that they're going to replace Imlak right now as the wicketkeeper. Personally, I liked what I saw with the
Pakistan.
Yes, behind the stumps.
At the graveyard.
Yes, and I think he is probably the top candidate to be the next West Indies captain. But knowing I have never been right with selecting an 11 for West Indies team.
Yeah.
And they could surprise me with who they select as the next West Indies captain. Back to you, Junior.
Yeah. Thank Hall of Famer Melbourne there for his thoughts. Hall of Famer Mr. Heath, thank you for joining us again. When we look at what went on in England this morning, knowing that West Indies pattern everything that they do after the all um, you know, taskmasters. Um, England split their coach. We split our coach. England went back to a singular coach. We went back to a singular coach. Now that England have moved away from Ben Stokes, leaving him as the captain of the test team, picking the youngster in Harry Brook that only played 12 ODIs, and now sanction him as captain for the T20 and ODI team. Do you think now that Darren Sammy will follow the same suit? Your like is for, as you have said last Monday, that Shea Hope should be the captain, but seeing what went on in England earlier this morning, have your mind now changed?
Thank you for the invitation, Mr. Codlin, and I say good morning, good afternoon to Mr. Brown and John, and of course to yourself and viewers and listeners wherever they are. In relation to the question, I certainly have not changed my mind, and I don't think that Sammy might change his mind, but he's not going to do it at this time, simply because he's already, what should we say, rolled the die, and we see that he's gone from, by removing Powell and giving the all white ball captaincy to Shea Hope. I think that he's probably moving in that direction to give the test captaincy to Shea Hope as well. I feel fairly confident, well, that's the direction in which Sammy is moving.
Yeah. You know, it's very difficult to see. Light spoke the other day about the need for Shea Hope to be the test captain. When a former legend in Shivnarine Chandapal was a few runs away from overtaking Brian Lara record of being the top scorer for West Indies, his own countryman, Shea Hope, was brought in the team, Ian Darich, to replace Shivnarine Chandapal. So Shea Hope basically replaced Shivnarine Chandapal. So he's always had an eye and a like for Shea Hope. But seeing how remarkable Tevin Imlach is captaining the Guyana RP Eagles for a few years now, if not Shea Hope, then who for Mr. Heath?
If not Shea Hope, you're saying who might be the captain?
Who will be the captain?
Oh, if it's not Shea Hope, the likelihood is that he may well go with Imlach because of his record. Joshua De Silva was dropped for the last series of matches, but the question is, was that a strategic omission? And so Joshua De Silva, who had been named as vice captain by the coach previously, could well still be in with the chance because of those. He's had 3 or 4 good score this series of West Indies Championship. So he might well be there behind Imlach, but Imlach, by virtue of his performance in Pakistan and his current performance in the 4-day championship, he looks very likely that if it's not Shea Hope, then yes, it could be Imlach with Joshua De Silva right behind him in terms of who might well get the nod. But, you know, one of the factors that tend to cloud the issues is the fact that these guys are all wicket keepers. And sometimes you hear it said you cannot select 2 or 3 wicket keepers in the side. But that should have no bearing on the decision. The decision should be whether that person can contribute as a top line batter. And this is where I think that Imlach might have the rub over Joshua De Silva, because on any given day, I think he appears to be a more reliable batter. So Imlach, possibility of Joshua De Silva, but I still feel that Sammy is trying to consolidate, and so it'll be Shea Hope.
Thank you for your thoughts, Hall of Famer Dennis Eat. Remember to like this stream as you are on. Please comment. Please, share this stream. Very important announcement for us here at the West Indies Cricket Development Academy. As you can see on your screen, we are looking to build 2 concrete pitches. We are seeking your donation in helping us to accomplish this project for the safety of our players, the safety of our academy players. We want to erect 2 concrete pitches at the Denby High School to support the cricket program there, and also to strengthen the work of the academy here on the island. These players have to be in safe and conducive training to be the best that they can be. This academy has produced cricketers that has represent the West Indies, also represent Jamaica. We push out to the United States 5 players earlier, 5 players late last year. We also have one of those players going to represent Jamaica in the West Indies new breakout league, Mar Anderson. He will represent Jamaica in the new breakout West Indies new breakout league. We also have Micah McKenzie that will be representing the Leeward Islands in the West Indies new breakout league. So what we are doing here at the academy is already producing cricketers to play at the regional and also at the international level. And so you helping us to construct these 2 concrete pitch with fencing around it will go towards strengthening our academy here in Jamaica and allowing us to produce more cricketers for Jamaica and more cricketers for West Indies. And we are helping to curb crime. We are helping to guide these players away from a life of crime, away from a life of violence, away from a life of not doing anything. When they have this training facility to come, then they will be burning their energy in a good way, and West Indies will benefit, Jamaica will benefit. So as you read on your screen, please consider to help us by engaging us on WhatsApp via the number that you're seeing on your screen. Thank you. Thank you again, panelists, to be on with us as we look on our next test captain. Could well be Joshua De Silva, could well be Tevin Imlach, could well be Alec Atenis, or it could be Shea Hope. But John touched on early on, John touched on Jason Mohammed. If you notice, John, that coming into the 4th, 5th, now 6th round, going into the 7th round, the ball has changed. And with that, the scores of Jason Mohammed, though he leads the run chart just the same, his runs has dried up since the juke ball now come into play. With him being at 38, which team in the world have you ever seen select a 38-year-old to play test cricket for their country, knowing also that the potential world champions are going to come straight to the Caribbean after they finish with South Africa at Lords this June?
You want me to comment on that, Junior?
Yes.
Well, I suppose you might be it might be correct, but I don't see Jason Mohammed coming back into our West Indies team. As you say, at 38, I really can't see him coming back into a team. I think Darren Sammy might be more interested in trying to build, if you want to say from the ground up now. So he wants players who seem to have potential to be in his squad, and I get a feel, looking back on some of the comments when they dropped our captain from the T20.
Powell.
Yeah, Rahman Powell. That Sammy works with the data. And I could see in a few series that there seemed to have been a conflict between Rahman Powell and Darren Sammy. They might not have been on the same page. And I believe Darren Sammy wants people around him who will say, yes, boss, and not oppose or have an opinion. And I mean, that's just my observation. But I don't think Jason Mohammed would come back into this West Indies team. His time has passed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But gentlemen, one name you haven't called, as for captain, is a former vice captain also, Azari Joseph.
Yeah. Well, Azari Joseph, his ship has sailed, and based on the comments of Darren Sammy a few months ago, that would be a very big shocker to the Caribbean if that were to happen. Based on the comments of Darren Sammy. Mr. Eid, before I bring in back Mr. Brown for his comment, Mr. Eid, um, another youngster that came from the West Indies Cricket Development Academy, Joel Andrews, one of our contributor here in the comments asks, gentlemen, may I ask what are your thoughts on Joel Andrew being in the test squad for the Australia series? Your thoughts, Mr. Eid, on Andrews, then Mr. Brown.
Well, I would certainly recommend that he is considered at least in the squad, if nothing else, because his recent innings, the last match, apart from the last match, his recent innings has shown us that he does have the kind of discipline that can lead to greater things to come in the future. So I would strongly urge that he be included in the squad with the possibility of getting him in one or two matches for this upcoming series, because his record of runs in the early part of the season, apart from the last match, suggests he has talent enough, and he just needs the mentoring and the guidance. After all, we've got records of players at 18 for the West Indies in the past who've gone out there and done very well for the West Indies side. So Joel Andrews should certainly be included in the squad, if not in one of the matches.
Thank you so much. Mr. Brown?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Codlin. Joel Andrew, definitely. He has scored over 400 runs so far this season, so with one century, and I think 3 half centuries. He would certainly have earned his way But a very significant development I noticed with his team is that he's now, in the last 2 or 3 games, he has now taken over the wicket keeping duties for his team instead of the experienced Jamar Hamilton, who, at one point was up there in the rankings as a wicketkeeper batsman for West Indies.
Yeah.
Possible. He never made it. But for
He played
me,
against India.
yeah, against India, right. So, but it is, I think, I don't know if he's injured and can't keep, but I was very encouraged to see them passing off the glove to Joel Andrew. And it is telling me that the team is not looking out just for their future and for Andrew's future, but also for West Indies cricket future. And we have quite a few wicket keepers who are more than competent batsmen. And I believe you take the wicket keeping, put it off to the side, but if their batting skills are good enough to be placed in the 11, do not consider the wicket keeping, consider them as batsmen. And if he's good enough as a batsman to play, even if he only tours with them, the experience will do in the world of good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Joel Angels coming from the West Indies Cricket Development Academy straight into the Leeward Islands team, from the Leeward Islands straight into the West Indies, where he made his debut in Sri Lanka a few months ago. Didn't do too badly either, and he has also played CPL cricket for West Indies. As I continue to have you on, Mr. Brown, Mohammed started off the tournament like fire. Noted commentator and two-time World Cup winner Samuel Badri calling for him to be in the test team. But since the change of ball, the juke ball now coming into the competition, a ball that will be used in the Australia series, he can't even make 20 runs. What has gone wrong with the 38-year-old that the biased Trinidadians are calling to make his test debut? As West Indies cricket, in your view, have gone down to the level of a laughing stock, that we have to be calling on a 38-year-old to come and do the job when we have a youngster in Joel Andrews?
I could not agree with you more, Mr. Codlin. And I have no problem with anyone's age, but he has been out of the limelight for quite a few years. And I don't know why anyone thinks that at this age and stage of his career, he would do better than what he did when he was given the opportunity at a much younger age. The stamina required to succeed at this age, at this level, if with so many games being played, you're going to see him more than likely start out quickly and then fade towards the end. Him being still on top of the run aggregates is not misleading because he earned it, but we have to also look at his last 6 innings. What has he done? And as you point out, the change in balls, maybe it is moving around a bit too much for him now, or it could be just that common fatigue that comes with someone carrying that age. And he's not any better than the up and coming youngsters. It is better to invest in the future with youngsters than with someone who, at the most, could only give you maybe one more season, even if you're given the chance. No more than a season. I wouldn't even consider his name in
Yeah,
any list.
yeah. Um, John Melbourne Anderson of Guyana that made three consecutive hundreds now, not consecutive, but 300s in the entire season of our 4-day championship, along with Jason Mohammed making the same 300s. If you were a West Indies selector, which of them would you pick? Anderson, a youngster, not yet represent West Indies, but consistently making 100 last year for Guyana, captain in Guyana when Tevin Imlach is on international duties, making hundreds and in 99, 98 last year, coming back this year, shooting off with another 300 again, the last of which that came in the game that we are showing on our screen now, that the Guyana Harpy Eagles declared at 490 for 9. Century makers Captain Tevin Imlach and Anderson in that game for Guyana over the Leeward Islands. If you were to pick the West Indies team, Anderson and Jason Mohammed, who would you pick?
I am going with the younger player, Junior. And he certainly has a record now to support his being selected, given a chance at the West Indies level. I think especially playing at home might be the right place to bring in the youngsters, as opposed to maybe going on tour. But in any case, as I've said before, I don't have a place for Jason Mohammed on my team now. So it has to be the younger player. And as you say, Kevlan Anderson, he has done pretty well over the last several games that he has played for Guyana, scoring runs, of course, and leading the team. But certainly, I would go with Kevlan Anderson.
Yeah, thank you for your thoughts, Mr. Melbourne.
Because remember too, he scored a century in the second innings, but he got 70 odd not out in the first innings. So as I say, I'm going with the younger player.
Yeah, thank you for your thoughts, Mr. Melbourne. Let's now look, Mr. Heath, the captain of Australia, Pat Cummins, one of the world's best bowlers, Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazlewood. Australia will be welcoming the return of Cameron Green. As well, they have Bolan in their team. So they have a fully able bowling team with also the spin bowling of Nathan Lyon and the other spinners coming into play once they are required. Do you believe or think that Jason Mohammed at 38 would be able to withstand the relentless pursuit of these world-class bowlers that Australia will unleash on the West Indies? Australia coming to the Caribbean as potential world champions in the test format this June to July.
Well, very likely you commented on the fact that there's a ball change, which may, in my opinion, may have been a possibility of, why his performance has edged downwards. But also we have to bear in mind that there was this truncated match series in which, there was play and then there was a long layoff and then play and then another long layoff. That may well have affected the performance of Mohammed in this particular second half of the third of the series. Nonetheless, a point in his favor would be that he would be playing in the Caribbean on wickets that he should be used to. So that would be an advantage for him. However, looking at the might of the Australians who would be preparing themselves for the World Test Championship Series a month later, it seems
No,
very much.
they will play the championship before the Caribbean.
They'll play. Okay. So in which case, I correct. Thank you for the correction there. Very likely the strength of the Australians, based on what we saw last year, is such that maybe West Indies would be better off sticking with the up and coming players who, I mean, Carty is now back in the run, so is Hodge. So those are the young men, the young players who we've seen who've already had experience against the Australians. And I think in this case here at home, it may well be to the West Indies advantage to continue with the likes of Carty and Hodge and Imlach and that other group. And of course, we need to incorporate Shai Hope in that squad.
Yeah. Mr. Brown, coming down now, your final comments. As we look on a potential West Indies team, has Brandon King done enough for his name to be in the mix? Not as